You know, it probably isn't a good thing, but if I'm being honest, I'd be lying if I said I didn't enjoy a good gacha game to pass the time. But I've run into a problem over the years. There's like no good ones left. I love Dragalia Lost, but due to the interests of both companies involved, it was discontinued 4 years into its runtime in 2022. During the runtime of that game, I picked up Pokémon Masters EX, which I'm pretty sure over 100,000 of you know how much I love that game. But while it's still running, unlike a lot of other games from around that time, I've left the game due to the same issues that I praised it for avoiding. All fun in the game has been unfortunately colonized by the term Arc Suit, and the best part of the game, the fact that you could use any unit to conquer anything, just kinda got cooked by power creep. Then I picked up Dragon Ball Legends, which I have very fond memories of playing during my sophomore and junior years of high school with my best friend. However, the collapse of the game was genuinely so drastic, I don't even think I have to explain it. If you really want to know what went wrong, just look at any video in the past 6 months from any Dragon Ball Legends creator, and the story will write itself. My best friend stopped playing halfway through 2023, and I stopped playing around the end of 2024. But for a year, the entirety of 2025, I had nothing to play. October 14th, 2025. I heard about a Final Fantasy mobile game based on Dissidia, and I was all in since day one. I even applied to get into the beta. I didn't really get in, but that's besides the point. I didn't watch any big trailers because I didn't want to spoil myself, but I did know that it was a real-time action game, which I was ecstatic about. Because literally every anime mobile game that isn't fake Breath of the Wild or bordering Goon or Slop is normally turn-based. Something that's easier, cheaper, and overall faster for developers to make content for, which is something you have to do for a live service game. One random Friday I checked Instagram, I got an ad, and I was like, wait, this is out now? I downloaded it immediately and got to work. Okay, so Dissidia Duellum? Okay, so Dissidia Duellum, or just Dissidia FF for short, is a 3v3 MOBA game where you team up with 2 other teammates and take on a boss versus the other team. Whoever kills the boss first wins, but you can't just run up to the boss and kill him. To kill the boss, you need to beat up smaller enemies and capture crystals to build up bravery. When you smash about 3-ish crystals, your bravery becomes maxed out and you can go into burst mode, where all your skills actually do damage to the boss, unlike before. However, there's a catch. The other team is there the entire time, meaning if you kill a player, all of their bravery becomes yours. So that means as a player, you have to ask yourself and make real life decisions like, is it more beneficial to engage into combat with the other team right now, or ignore them and go after the boss? If you spend the entire match killing the other team and both teams don't ever kill the boss, you both lose. So this game actually has a lot of sides to it. Go after the boss all the time and you might leave your blind spots open. Go after players the whole time and you'll miss out on bonus damage you get if you attack the boss at the same time as your teammates. Wait, but like, who do you play as though? Dissidia FF revolves around character roles and skills. There are 4 roles: melee, which does damage up close by making contact with your opponent; ranged, which also focuses on damage but with a lesser output compared to melee characters because there's less risk involved; agile characters do an average amount of damage, but hence the name, they can move faster than all other characters, meaning that they can run ahead, while the whole team gets to get crystals early. And lastly, we have support. They focus on healing, the team, buffs, and everything else that isn't doing damage. Everyone in this game can equip up to 5 skills that fall under cooldown after use. The more powerful the ability is, the higher the cooldown is. The better the skill, the harder it is to get. The lighter skills stay useful in early ranks because of their low cooldown times, but the bigger skills are where you have to use the gacha system, and also a lot of where the damage is. On top of asking yourself if you even want to fight the other team, you have to ask yourself if it's also worth it to spend your skills fighting the other team instead of the boss. This is where the game starts being deep. In addition to all of that, every unit has 4 specific skills that they can use in battle, varying on rarity. For example, Cloud has Braver, a rare skill, Finishing Touch, a super rare skill, and Omni Slash and Cross Slash, his ultra rare skills. You get a free character based on which game you say is your favorite during the tutorial. Don't quote me on that, there's literally no wiki for this game yet, so I couldn't even fully fact check it. So I got Cloud. But to get all the other characters, you have to level up in the free tutorial battle pass and get one of each role. And then to get the rest, there's a character gacha. You get characters every 16 individual draws, meaning if you do the tenfold, you get one every 2 tenfold summons. When you get an outfit, you still get the character. Because the game just launched, however, there's not many, so I could see somebody eventually getting everything. If there is a specific character you want, however, you can save up your tickets and spend 5 of them on whoever that is. Although it is helpful to mention that you're going to get Lightning, Cloud, Warrior of Light, and Terra upon completing the free tutorial battle pass. So if you really want to maximize your character, it would be wise to pick someone like Gaia or Kain, and then at the start of the game you'll have 5 characters once you're done with the tutorial. But again, characters are not hard to get, and when you get someone you like the most, you're probably going to want to stick with them for a minute due to experimentation with different sets and etc. There are cutscenes for a story. There is no story mode, but there is a story currently going on in the game. It's not that important if I'm being honest with you, but it is kind of funny to see all the Final Fantasy characters texting each other in a group chat. Also, the music's good. That is Dissidia FF in a nutshell. I skipped over a couple of minor things, like every character having an element, meaning that if you give them skills matching that element, they do more damage, which helps combat the ultra rare skills if you don't have them. But long story short, this is a surprisingly deep, flashy MOBA title that I've struggled to put down in the past week it's been out. But just like everything, people have to hate for no reason, without giving it a proper chance. So let's address the issues in this very fresh game.
Wait, so like there's a battle pass?
Yes, there's a battle pass, and people love to talk about how the story is locked behind it. This is dumb because most people immediately jump to believe and think that, wow, they really did lock the story behind a $5 paywall, and that's scummy. So, funny story, they actually didn't, and the whole thing is free. There is a free battle pass and a paid version. The free version includes the story mode cutscenes, 4 free characters, the skill growth currency, and the gacha currency. The premium version includes more gacha currency, skins for all 4 of the free characters to revert them to their original look from their games, and that's literally it. If you don't want to buy it, nobody's forcing you to. I didn't buy it because A, I don't really need it to compete, and B, I wanted to make this review as fair as possible. And even if I did want to buy that stuff, it costs like $6, which is not bad if you're getting 2 seasons worth of stuff. Also, like, you understand that, like, making and running a game is expensive, right? Like, if there wasn't a gacha system or a $6 season pass, you would be coughing up a clean 70 bones to play this game on PS5. And then the narrative would be, $70 for Dissidia? Even though literally every game costs that nowadays. Games aren't free, and I understand people have been burned by mobile games in the past, but trust me, you can play this game for free. I haven't spent a single dollar, and I easily broke into gold rank within days, because once you get the hang of the game, it doesn't get easier, but it becomes really fun when everything's in motion. Also, to all the people complaining about the cutscenes being in the battle pass, buddy, you progress the battle pass by playing the game. If they just gave you all the cutscenes like on a plate, and it was just a 20-minute long cutscene, nobody would care. Nobody would even watch it. These ultra rare skills aren't fair because what if I don't get them? Look, I get it. I too ran into an enemy Cloud who immediately slammed the Omni-Slash button and killed me for no reason. However, just hear me out here. Ultra rare skills are powerful, but they are balanced. Let's just say what just happened to me happened to you. Minding your own business and then boom, dead via Omni-Slash. Everyone who knows this game knows how it sucks. But this is actually one of the worst decisions a Cloud player can make. Skills like that are better spent on the boss, not the opponents, because now they can't use their highest damage move for 90 seconds. 90 seconds is a pretty long time considering the match can only go on for up to 6 minutes, and it's little things like that that balance this game out. There are super rare skills in the game that I would honestly argue are pretty dangerous, like Firaga, Blizzaga, Earthbreaker, Finishing Touch. There are ways to navigate not having the highest skills in the game all the time. If you gave everybody the same tools, literally everybody would be running the same set optimally over and over again, and nobody would think, because everybody has the same stuff. For example, take my set. With Cloud for a long time, I had Braver, Finishing Touch, and before I got Omni-Slash and Cross-Slash, I used Firaga and Blizzaga, which soon got replaced with Earthbreaker. I used Firaga as a quick launcher that didn't have the recharge time of Finishing Touch, and I used Earthbreaker for when people started running away mid-fight. Doing all of this taught me that, oh, I don't need this straight line skill to finish people off skill when I could just use Braver to close in. And half the people on my team probably have something like that. Warrior of Light's Shining Slash, stuff like that. When you work in a team, people help you out and you can get things done. And outside of all of that, these gacha rates are extremely good. Now, I don't know if they'll keep it up, but every UR skill has a 5% chance to show up. And if you played any other gacha game, you know those are insanely high numbers for a game like this. You might not luck out like me and get the skills for the character you want, but you're guaranteed to get usable tools and the skills you want eventually. Because the game is so small, it can't be that hard to get everything.
Oh, but I was playing it and like the controls kind of stink.
Okay, on this criticism, this is like the one I'm most willing to understand. They are a little difficult to get the hang of, but what I did was switch the position of the controls to -2, making it close to the bottom of the screen as possible, kept the swipe to use abilities so you can pull back anything you don't want to, turn on the option to turn 180 degrees by flicking the screen, and my secret weapon. Turning the camera tracking on, and the sliders to the camera speed almost all the way up. Is it perfect? No. And I think they should still zoom out the FOV a little bit considering how big the boss is and how big the crystals are. But does it work like 90% of the time? Yes. And that's the most important part. Also, like, side note, unscripted, but like, fix the lock on, bro. Like your character locks on to the thing that you're hitting, except the camera doesn't lock on unless you're like hitting the crystal. I don't know why that is. Like, I'm perfectly fine just knowing where I'm hitting and what's going on, but I understand a lot of people who don't understand how that's happening. This is one of those cases where there is truly a lot to say about the game that can be said without playing it. But from the people who have played the game, it's fun. And you tend not to worry about its flaws when there's not somebody whispering in your ear telling you that the game sucks because it's not PSP Dissidia with PS5 graphics. And I'm not saying that as a negative point. I haven't played Dissidia on PSP, but I'm willing to work with what we have. And what we have is good, and that shouldn't be understated. I like this game a lot, but I think the most important thing this game does well is character design. And while I do like the colors and the city fashion aesthetic they got going on, I'm talking about the characters mechanically. When you hear the word support in a multiplayer game, you probably think about something like Cloak from Marvel Rivals. Somebody who can do stuff, I guess, but is mainly spending their time helping out the team. But Warrior of Light, see, he's a support unit, but not for the reasons you think. He can, of course, attack and buff your team's offense and defense, but he doesn't do an insane amount of damage if we're being honest. But one thing he's really good at is killing the opposing team. He's not going after crystals or going after big damage on the boss, he's going after other players. Because when you fight him, there's a high chance that if you don't get it done in about 3 seconds, he'll just live to tell the tale and kill you directly after. Oh, and please make sure nobody else from his team's nearby. If they're a ranged unit, that interaction was over before it started. And God bless you if they have Shining Slash and Supreme Soul. At that point, I just avoid him unless my team shows that they're pushing him. While there is a boss, he's like his own boss in a way, and I find that character design interesting. Another character I love the design for is Prompto Argentum. He can't do all the crazy Final Fantasy stuff like people like Cloud and Lightning can do, so he just has an arsenal of firearms and explosive devices. He has a pistol, SMG, bazooka, grenade, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I didn't get lucky with Cloud. I haven't gotten all of his UR skills. But there's so many things you can do as this character. You can play a supporting role and go after the crystals. You can play a second damage role, not starting fights but ending them from afar. I personally like to use Hastera and play a pseudo agile role, getting far crystals and ending fights to help my damage dealer and get the bills paid. But Dissidia Duellum is deep because there's literally like 12 whole characters in the game and you get basically half of them in about 3 hours. And still, there's so many ways you could play this game. Of course, the game just came out and the optimization demon will see a little bit of that player expression, but I mean, like, shoot. You can play Terra and do damage from the backline. You can play Creo and build Bravery to transfer to everybody else on your team. You can play Gaia and trap people in interactions that could kill them and steal their bravery instead of getting the crystals. You could play Cloud and trust your team to light a safe path enough to use all your big skills on the boss without getting killed mid-animation. You could play Lightning and run over to the further crystal so you can bait the other team into overextending and then kill them with Thunderfall, while the rest of your teammates open up a great space to do damage to the boss. You can play Warrior of Light, and if the other team is doing too much damage to the boss, and you need to slow down the pace of the game, you can kill their damage unit, and then run over to their spawn and take their crystals, and that, in short, is why I love this game. Sure, I would like it more if people actually use their brains, yet all of that is not the game's fault, and it comes with being an online game and playing with real people. When you do work together, coordinate, and know what you're doing, the game feels extremely good, and it gets really close if both teams know what they're doing. That being said, I do believe it falls short in some aspects. I love playing as Cloud, but honestly, I'll be the last one to admit it, but he's kinda broken. Outside of preference, he's so broken that there's basically no reason to use Gaia or now Irona because he basically just mogs them in the damage output and versatility. A lot of the hold skills in the game are kinda pointless and they should make them faster to use and just do something. The amount of times I've used Prompto's SMG to clear out crystal enemies just for me to bumble around like an idiot when I'm supposed to shatter the crystal because there's no way to do a tap action after doing a hold action is just, it's just stupid. And then Prompto's SMG is like one of the only good hold skills in the game. Okay, my bad, that's not true. There's actually a couple good hold skills in the game, but Cloud Ascension kind of blows, I'm not gonna lie to you. There should be a way to tech a fall that isn't popping a skill seconds before you hit the ground. I'm fine with launchers, but you should be able to do something about it more than just slam on the ground and take more damage. Oh, and my last thing, they need to make a big deal about when the boss shows up because it's important, but we shouldn't all be taken out of the game mid-fight just to watch the same boss cutscene show up, and we knew which boss it was going to be when the match started. Please just make a pop-up at the top of the screen. I don't want to get hit with any more fade to black and now I'm getting jump combos. And yeah, other than people being stupid, that's pretty much all the problems I have with the game. A cool part about a game like this is building community, and I've actually met a couple people to play with. I asked their takes on the game, and this is what one of them said.
In terms of positive feedback, it's a very fun and connected video game in terms of meeting new people from around the world, whether it's through battle or via text chat within the lobby. The gameplay is simple enough, the graphics are nice, and it's actually interesting to see the characters have a little more personality expression-wise. It makes them feel almost human despite the animation graphics. I have noticed that certain characters are better at certain tasks than others. For example, Terra is a great AoE back row fighter despite being slow and weak HP wise. Her Tornado special can really level the playing field if used correctly. The characters' outfits are nice too. The Madara's attire again makes the character seem human. I am digging Gaia's goth girl vibe. Terra's schoolgirl vibe is cute too, though in the original Final Fantasy VI, she does come out like more mature rather than youthful. But her scripted dialects do make it hard to understand the personality of a character, so I guess that gets a pass. Back to gameplay. As simple as it is, the camera work is actually kinda terrible. The character will lock onto a target, but the camera will automatically pan to said target, and you are forced to waste precious seconds to fix the camera to see who you're fighting. It's almost like the camera setup was made for joystick use. The in-battle communication system makes it impossible to plan tactics mid-battle, so really, each member must wing it while doing their own thing, which is counterintuitive to the basis of teamwork the game is designed for. And while most mobile games are gacha based, the system makes it almost impossible to level up abilities unless you're spending a lot of money to max them out at random. In addition, the randomized gacha makes it impossible to get all the abilities you need for the character you made. Literally, I have all of Kane's abilities before having the character himself, and I'm struggling to get transferred Terra or any copies of Terra's abilities to level them up. What should happen is being able to pick abilities like how you pick a new character at the cost of 5 character tickets. It would make things easier for new characters to power up. Like the more skill they add, the less chance each particular skill can be obtained unless they do a character special skill drawing to celebrate new character releases. The alt color outfits are very redundant, but I understand animation and production costs. However, it'd be cool to customize your main characters as long as it's kid friendly and not perverted. The last thing we need is some old pervert putting Krilly in a 2-piece bathing suit. But all in all, it's a great game with a little more effort and improvement. You can easily knock out the other Dissidia games, and it most certainly beats Dissidia NT.
The one last big thing with this game, and part of the reason why I make this video, was people are of course not going to give this game a fair shot, because it's a free gacha mobile game. But with this game, people hate on this game like it's personal. And honestly, like, I get it. I mean, this is not the new game that people wanted. Dissidia NT came out close to 10 years ago, and with only one new entry in the Final Fantasy series, dropping alongside the 7 remake games, people want that itch scratched again. However, this does not give people the right to call a mobile game that they haven't even installed on their phone gacha slop and a cash grab. It's a mobile game, and if you don't like it, that's fine. But if you look around at the buzz surrounding this game, there's a stark lack of positivity. When you find a YouTube video or article, they just do the classic, fence sitting, and just play the game for 2 hours and say it's fun, but complain about how the gacha is unfair and it's just, I don't know. Should you try Final Fantasy Dissidia Duellum, and is it worth your time and potentially your money? Absolutely. This is a high quality mobile game with a lot of fun to be had behind it. I've loved all the time I've had with it, and as long as it keeps, innovating and succeeding at what it already does, I can see it being a strong title for the future. Sure, this is a mobile game, and when it all comes down to it, one day it'll end, but, every game has its life cycle, and even though something like Dissidia NT is a console game, there are more people on Final Fantasy XII, a single-player game, than there are on Dissidia NT. So in conclusion, just because the game is free doesn't mean that you should miss out because it's going to disappear one day. There is a guaranteed window that people care about a game, and we're in the window for this game. So have a good time. In conclusion, good job Square for making a good solid mobile title, and I hope to see you on there too. Like always, take care of yourself, and I will see you next time.